Hey you guys, and welcome back to another live stream as we head closer to the team sheet for round 6 of the AFLW Fantasy season, in which it could be an interesting team sheets. I've already seen we've got a couple of AFL debuts and a couple of club debuts already named. One of the most intriguing one, I think, so far has been the Annabelle Johnson debut and how that could actually provide some cash generation. We've also seen a couple of others debuts there, which we'll get to in due course. But yeah, there is that. There is obviously the chance that we do get more. I don't think we have heard officially of a Lauren Young, but I expect it to come in the next sort of 30, 40 minutes. So, yeah, you've got Annabelle Johnson, just looking here quickly. Annabelle Johnson, you've also got the likes of, who have we got here as well? Got Poppy Stockwell, and then also Lulu Field as well, debuting so far for the round, but we'll obviously get more in the next sort of 30 minutes. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, so we will see how that goes. And yeah, just put your, before we get into it, I should say, put your, I guess, trades in the chat as well, so that we can go through them. And then also remember to like and subscribe, turn the notification bell on so that you can, I guess, know when I go live or upload as well. So let's see with where I'm, as many of you would have seen with my video today and my thought process around what I'm doing with my side. The current setup is this. I'm just checking in terms of my cash ordering here. And it looks like I've got it dead on. Yep. They're all in the cash order that I want them to be. And this is what I've got currently. We do expect a Lauren Young debut, but I don't think it's official. So I'm not 100% sure. Corey can probably look for it in the background, but I don't think I've seen an official club announcement yet from Port Adelaide around her, even though we're heavily expecting it's been in the works for quite a while if she hadn't been concussed. A potential round 6 debut yet. So it's not official, but it looks all but likely that she will, from what I'm just seeing on X and all that it looks like we should be seeing a Lauren Young debut, which will be good. And so that will help probably in the forward line, because Banfield, she's got a 17 break even. If we just go to here, she does have a pretty low break even relative to most of the forward line. If we just go to here, she has got the second lowest break even. I did think about getting Mackenzie Ford, but if Mackenzie Ford flames out, and also I'm just thinking about it as well, that there's a big chance with me personally that that I need that 190K next week. If we just go back to sort of my team, if we look at it, I don't know where I'm going to really generate much cash next week. So I want it on hand, because I know that I'm going to want to go Conan up to Lucas Rod next week. And if we look at Lucas Rod here, you'll see that she's 1.053 million. So she's 235K more expensive than Conan. And we look at their break evens as well. I think you'll find that they have relatively similar break evens here. 95 for Lucas Rod, and you've got Conan at 75. And so if they both score roughly what we think that they're going to score, it'll probably mean that Conan's going to go down 10 or so K, and Lucas Rod probably is going to go down maybe around about the same as well. So I think that there is very, very likelihood that Lucas Rod is the one that I target next week. And I target that through potentially someone like getting a Dunlop and getting that loop and getting that really good loop there, but also getting Conan up to Lucas Rod, and then getting a cash generator through potentially potentially chucking a Regini, or I don't know how to say that, never learned how to say that. Getting her maybe to an Annabelle Johnson if possible, but we'll see. We'll see based on cash generation. What's the go there? If possible, because we know, let's just look at Johnson here. Pretty sure 460 was something that was in my head. Yeah, 460 for Annabelle Johnson. We'll see how she goes, because she could be one that could be one of the last cash generators that we have. And we know cash generation is high. And I feel like I'm very, very lucky in terms of my team value, because I know it says 18.8989, but that is with 200K or 154K left in the bank. So if you actually look at it in terms of me fully illiquid, I was doing this today, I sit around about here, which is something like 17th in the comp for cash, team value. And if you just were to look at it a little bit more with an eye that a lot of teams will have sort of between 50 to 70K spare cash gen or cash in the leftover, I'm probably sitting around 22, 23rd in terms of team value, because I hunt the cash generation basically where possible. Rowley was a big mistake, but I think I had to sort of cover her off a little bit. Probably should have fielded her, put her on the bench and just fielded the Greaves. But that was a risk we had to take, because if Rowley went off, that was going to be a big, big mistake. And that was going to be she was going to be 800K if she went off again. So we just had to cover that off, I feel like, in a certain way. But could have probably fielded a Greaves I wasn't going to field a Centra, but yeah, field a Greaves there. But anyway, let's get to some of the questions here. So if you have to move out one of Bowers, Prasparkas to Riddell, who would you move and why? I would probably move the likes of Prasparkas. If we look at her score, not only is she averaging less than Bowers, if we look at her scoring, her highest score is a 117, and her next highest is a 109. If we look at Bowers' scoring, she's gone a 127, a 114, and then a couple of 106s. So if we look at that just comparatively, I feel like you're getting a lot with the likes of Bowers. There's a lot better potential for her to have that upper end scoring, just because her tackling can go off and she can get that sort of 15, 13 type tackle game. You can see here 13, 12, 9, 14. If she had better tackles against Sydney, that's another 120 loading. So she's done that before, whereas Prasparkas and very much struggles to get to sort of 6, 7, 8 tackles. And that's where she can really leak points, is she can have those 0 tackle games or low tackle games. Whereas, in the same sense, Bowers had a 4 tackle game, but Prasparkas is much more reliant on tackles in general, because they're one of the highest scorers, but also getting her touches up to 27 wasn't enough. 23 got her to a 10. So yeah, she needs mid-20s at least. Whereas Bowers has 18 touches for a 106, 22 touches here, 23, 21 touches for a 127. So yeah, I just think that Prasparkas could get tagged out of a game and really struggle. Whereas Bowers, I think it was just, yeah, she played North. That kind of sucks. So yeah, I'd much rather trade out the likes of Prasparkas first, because that's sort of a similar trade that I'm thinking of in the next couple of weeks, is getting the Prasparkas up to a Riddell or Nanscorn or one of those tacklers there, because they're still scoring well. One of the tacklers that can move and do well in transition are the highest scoring ones. Annabelle Johnson, we already sort of talked about this. Wardlow will score another 100 points this weekend against Richmond. Put her in your team. I don't think so. I'm just going, a lot of my choices are based on risk appetite and going on sort of where I see it lying. I don't think I want to go for someone that's gone 34 twice and then really scored well against horrific teams in the likes of Eagles and also Essendon. So, I think that Wardlow's one that she's averaging 66 for the year, which isn't the worst, but she's got those really, really horrific scores. And also her ruck time is down a lot. So if she isn't going to kick a bag, she isn't going to do anything. I know she's probably going to score well against Richmond, but look, we are looking for someone that is going to score well long-term, and I don't think she's going to score well long-term. So that's why I look at Maloney, who has basically a floor outside of North Melbourne of 60-odd. because we all know the North Melbourne game is going to be a lower score. Like, that just seems to be the case at the moment. So I'm looking at that. I'm looking at Woodland, who has a lower score of 71 in general. Montana Ham, lower score of 68, but has that big potential. Goldsworthy, lower score of 77. And then Barnett, a 67 as the lower score, which, yeah, they're just all averaging a lot more than Wardlaw. And I think that they have a lower floor. I know that their ceiling is probably a little bit lower than Wardlaw, but I think that I'm happy to stick with no Wardlaw. Pretty cash strapped because I'm getting Garner this week. Really struggling to who to get at F5 under position under 700k. Could I trade out Stone to Stannard or Young and take the risk on field or no? Because you're not going to have, I'm guessing you can't get like a 2 good, or you might already have a 2 good. So I'm guessing that's out of the equation. If we go to round points here, and then we go to, you could push it with Levy here, Taylor Levy. I think it, or Levi. I think it's Levy. You could push it with her. Richardson, I don't think that's a way there with Richardson. Let me just double check with Richardson that it wasn't a change of role. I think this is just going to be a classic. Interesting. That's a role change, but I don't see it sticking, and I don't think it's going to have much influence on it. But that's interesting. That's something. Parry's way too expensive. If I just go here and go down into the price ranges here, so you're looking at 600 to 699k roughly. Jones, Ponta, Boilu. Ponta's probably someone that you could risk on, even though she's had the 14, the 40. Like, she's done iffy, but could pull together a couple of weeks. I don't think there's anyone else in this sort of range that I'd be looking at all. Then in the 500k range, I need to make this smaller so I can actually see some of the players here. 500k range, you've got Vesio, Moya, Savak, Brennan. There's no one there really. And then Friswell, Clark. No, there's no one here really. So I think I would say your best bet's probably a Ponta, to be honest with you. Ride Ponta up if you can. If you're able to get Ponta, I don't know if you're able to. But that is probably the best bet there. Who would you trade if Boyd plays? Georgia Stathis or Conan, Ellinger? I would probably trade Conan. Ellinger, even though she's averaging less than the likes of Conan, I think she is. She might not be. She is 66.8. Conan's not averaging. Yeah, so I think Conan's scoring in the last couple of weeks has been really nerve-wracking just to see her get to a score. I mean, she was if she adds the 3 tackles there, she gets to a 66, and it's completely fine. So it is just the tackles and marks that was down for her, realistically speaking. But it still is always a concern each week with her based on role, and it feels like she's either between 50 and 70. So at the moment, I know that she's done a couple of mid-70s in a row. But I think the role is slowly has diminished quite a bit. And if we go to Conan here as well and look at it, we will see 6% CBA, 0% CBAs the week before. So, I mean, she does have, if we look at who she's playing Western Bulldogs, which should help her out a little bit. But I would be saying Ellinger can probably have a better time of it. And I think that Ellinger's been a little bit unlucky in the last couple of weeks. But, I think she'll do relatively well this week. But then again, you're looking at it going 54, 48. You might want to keep... I was still back in Ellinger over Conan, to be honest with you. Roberts or Katie Hoare. I'd go Kate Hoare at the moment. She's on fire with tackles. The role's there. It's one of the biggest misses that I've had this year. It's going to be that way, isn't it? Yeah, there we go. It's going to be one of the biggest misses that I've had. You can just see the role. I mean, the role was kind of there, but you can see the role just pop. And yeah, I probably was too selective in my sort of looking at her averages and point scoring from the last couple of years. Whereas if you actually look at it, 83% for a 75, 85 for a 95, 72, 105, 102. an 85 there, and then she's gone in this new role 93, 87, 119, 138. So yeah, just one that I plainly missed. Even a 58% for a 78 was another big one. Is there any other big CBA role games? Don't think so, but you can kind of see that, yeah, she was one that has gone on ball and just looked outstanding when she's fully on ball and scoring really, really well. So I probably just plainly missed that, missed her. What's mid Kate Hall price down would you suggest trading Zippy up to? Go if you can get Kate Hall herself, then I would be getting her because she feels like the one that could go 105 for the rest of the year, pretty much go what you need her to go. But yeah, I think if I go by price point, you'll see that if we just go down, yeah, you obviously miss Garner, which sucks. Finn's done well the last couple of weeks. If we go mid, that I don't have to go through all the others. Hanks, I don't really rate. I know that she was one that I was looking at, but I think that we're starting to see her fall back slightly. Roberts went 111. She's pretty good, but I'd still be going Hor if you can get her. And then no one else really that I'd like, to be honest with you, just looking at this list here. Hardingham versus Tipping, which one? I mean, is Tipping even playing? We haven't heard any news about Tipping, have we? Let me just see if I can find something about the women's and see if Tipping is debuting. Special milestone, don't think I've seen anything. So yeah, maybe I missed something. But as it stands, Lauren Young's on the cusp of making her AFL debut. Available, just have to get through main training session tonight unscathed. So that's a good sign. And looks like, yeah, I haven't seen anything about Tipping playing, so don't get necessarily the reference there, because Tipping's going to be a red dot, and the likes of Hardingham, I don't think it's going to be a red dot. I think she will play again, although won't score too well. So don't really understand that, to be honest with you. So yeah, there's that one. Do you prefer Boyd if named and Garner, or an 800k defender in Anderson? I probably wouldn't. I'd be getting Garner anyway. I'd be getting Garner anyway of Anderson, because Anderson's had one game over 118. So game over 78. Sorry, not 118. That was her game over 78. And if we look at her numbers outside of that, if you remove 117 from this, you get 273 divided by 4, which that is like 67 or something, 66 maybe. 273 divided by 4 is 68.25. Are you really getting someone that last week was averaging 68.25 and has popped one good week? I know what she did last year, but let's be relevant here. It doesn't really matter with the way the AFL has changed. Are we getting in someone that averaging currently 68.25 off of one good game? I don't think you'd say that in the AFL, let alone, and then also saying that in the AFLW. So I don't think you should go there. I think she's a trap. I think that the new rules has really stuffed her up, because the tackling has just fallen off a cliff. Where I know the tackling was back in this game, but yeah, her tackling has just been off a cliff, as well as just her disposals have been down mostly. So I wouldn't be going there. I'd be going Garner at all costs, because Garner seems to just do whatever the heck she wants. I mean, here she had 31 touches, here 25, here 25. Garner's getting the 25 touch games, plus she's also getting, what's that now, 12, 15, 27 tackles in 4 games, but you can say 24 tackles in 3 games. That's 8 tackles a game, as well as 8 goals in 3 games, which is still 2 and a bit a game, which I don't expect to continue, but you can see where she's getting her points. And she has Carlton, who are free flowing, and I think she'll score pretty well against. Ethan's trades here. Fish to Reedy, that makes sense. Dunlop to Hardingham, okay. And then Greaves to Garner, yep. I would tick that off. Hardingham probably has the better chance of making some cash. I know if we look at if we look at her cash generation here, you can see 21 break even. So isn't going to break it, but yeah. So that is a really good set of trades. That's what I would be doing. You're getting the cash generation from Reedy. You're realizing Fish's cash generation as well. If we go to Fish here, Zippy Fish has done us wonders, but they're 88 break even as a winger. She's just not going to hit that regularly. So you take the less risk there, and you just say she's not going to do it. Therefore, you're going to realize that cash generation. And so you've got realizing cash generation to the best mid break even. I believe I'm right in saying that Reedy is the best mid break even. Let's just see. Yep, best mid break even. So you're getting one of the potentially worst former cash generators into cash loss now in Zippy Fish, off to the best cash generator in that line in Reedy. You're getting Dunlop, who you're just moving around cash in a way to get the Greaves to Garner to work. But you're getting Harningham, who looks the best, looks all right in the ruck line, isn't necessarily the best for break evens, I believe, but let me just double check that. Caitlin Reid's not going to play. Riggs is over expensive, so yeah, you're getting the best ruck cash generator, and then also that is and then you're getting Greaves to Garner, which Greaves as well, much like I was saying with Fish, not so much as Fish, but Greaves could start losing cash this week, 55 break even, as she's probably not going to lose cash, but she's not going to make a fair chunk of it, I don't think. I think the role is starting to lessen there, so I would be going away from that as well. And so I really like that set of trades. So that would be the set of trades there. I don't like any sort of Paxman upgrades. I know Watson's done really well in the past, but you're arguing over potentially like 20 points, whereas the Fish to Garner could be legitimately could be a 100-point upgrade in its own right. Plus, you're getting the cash generation. Whereas if you go Pax to Watson, Fish to Reedy, your Fish to Reedy wouldn't. If you go Fish to Reedy, Greaves to Roberts, and Pax to Watson, you're potentially getting Roberts could go 110. I don't think she'll go that 150. Whereas Garner, this is the week to get Garner. I think even though she's got a 135 break even, it's just, I think you're going to get the points on the board. She's going to go 130 odd, and that'll be a difference maker. I don't think Roberts will go 130. So you're getting a lot more points there. I know if we look at Roberts here, 1.19 million, but she is playing Melbourne, so I don't think that is necessarily the greatest matchup, whereas Garner has Carlton. I know it's probably going to show me here that the fixture difficulty says that Carlton's harder than Melbourne in terms of mids. If we go here and look at it, Melbourne plus 4.9. Surprising. Surprised that Melbourne's giving up the most points to mids. But yeah, anyway, it says here that finally Gold Coast is a positive ruck matchup, apparently. And then if we look at Carlton, they're still a positive in the midfield matchup, but I just rate Garner higher than most of pretty much all the other mids, other than the likes of Noffy and probably Riddell. Maybe Gardner sneaks over her, but probably not. So you're getting arguably M2 or M3 for the rest of the year at roughly an M7, M8 price point. Like she was 2 weeks ago when she injured herself. We were looking at her at just scoring 158, saying she's 1.5 million. How the heck are we going to get her? And now we're getting her for 200k cheaper, which is roughly about 15 points cheaper than what she was priced at. And so, yeah, I think this is the way to go here because, she is currently priced around about 112 points, and you're going to get 120 plus out of her, I think, this year. To be honest with you, if we look at Garner here and look at her, you'll see she did 115 and 123. I think she can go similar to that 123 in the past that she's done. So yeah, I really do like the Garner pickup this week. Are Lauren Young strong enough, good enough that she can pop 60? Don't think so. And the reason I say that it's a little bit confusing, or I should say it's a little bit confusing comparative to most, is that if you actually, and I was talking to Corey about this earlier today, is that she's a key forward, but she spends some time in the midfield, which don't think that's going to happen at AFL level. But also she's a junior All-Australian halfback. centre half back. So she's sort of just the absolute epitome of a tall utility. So I think she plays more as a key forward this week. But I do think that she's one that I will monitor this week rather than go for, because I think that Banfield on a wing against Essendon could actually be value. If we do look at the worst teams to play against, Essendon still a minus 0.8 for midfielders. But so, yeah, I do think that she's one that I will monitor this week rather than trade into. She does have Geelong as well. If we go to forwards and look at the matchups, Geelong are quotedly a minus 1.4 for the round. So, yeah, I would be looking at away from the likes of Lauren Young just at the moment. I can't believe I'm 2K off Garner. Yeah, that's the ones that suck. It's like you're so close to it. And then, yeah, I've definitely had a couple of those in the past in this season where you're like, oh, I thought I could get it, but I fall 30K short or something. So, yeah, there's definitely times that I've had to rejiggle trades around. But usually I just remember to focus on cash generation, because that's gotten me in the position where I am, where I've pretty much got a full team. If we just look at this, I've got the 5 mids, got the 5 best forwards, arguably you would say the 5 best forwards aside from Malloy. Sorry, I missed Malloy. I don't know about Parry. That's the weird one. Parry's sort of just there. But if you look at it, I've got 5 of the top 7 forwards. Not many people have 5 of the top 7 forwards. They've got Too Good, who might in the long run be near enough that marker, but hasn't. She's now at 65 for the year with a slight injury in there. But yeah, or not injury, but she had a head knock and HIA in that game. But yeah, I think that if you look at it, that that the likes of Malloy is probably one that I'm worried about, because she can go large. But after this week, the run starts to really worsen for Sydney, and I think that's when Malloy's one. That's when Malloy's probably going to start tanking in value quite a lot. If we do look at Malloy's break even, she's probably going to be somewhere, and I said that it was about 970 for her. If she went 65 again, she went 77, sorry. Whereas this week, if she does go, she's got a 97 break even. If she goes 75 again, she loses another 60K or so and would be priced around about the 940K range. So she's losing price relatively quickly. So yeah, that forward line is pretty good. The ruck line, Scholes has got some decent matchups, but we'll see how she goes. She's one that I potentially want to get to Strom in the near future. Like, the upgrades I've basically got left is Scholes to Strom. That's 1. Prespakis to Riddell. That's 2. I would say potentially Bowers up, but like that is cutting like hairs almost to maybe a Monconti, but that's a rather close one. So maybe not. So you've got the Scholes up and then the Prespakis up move. Then Conan and Paxton are the 4 moves I've got left to go, and they will go to Lucas Rod, and potentially we will look in the defender line and probably to Akani. If I can get Paxman up to a Lucas Rod, Conan up to Akani, Scholes up, and Prespakis up, then I've pretty much got the best team possible. But yeah, I just don't know where I'm going to get that cash in, because I've got 154K, which basically gets the Scholes to Strom move up. So I still need to get Prespakis to Riddell, which currently is roughly about, 360K plus about 200K from Paxman to the likes of Lucas Rods. That's 560K plus Conan to basically Heath, Georgia Stathis, Carney, somewhere in that range. That's probably another 100K at the moment. So that's another 660K outside of what I've got remaining on the salary, which is basically Centra, Dunlop. Hopefully Reedy makes a lot more. And yeah, I still need a little bit more cash. But anyway, moving on here, doing Dunlop to Huttingham and Greaves and Rowley to the Carlton Rook and Kate Hall. Yeah, I do like that there. VC Gardner or Riddell. I'd VC probably Riddell against Carlton. I think she'll do well there. If you don't have enough for Gardner, could you go Rowbottom? No. No, Rowbottom, no. She's one that I traded out of immediately. I didn't think that she would be this bad. She went 89, so no. She's not anywhere close to being top of the line. And is she under 1 million? Like, how bad has she done? She's barely 1 million. Like, I'd almost rather a Montana Hammer or Goldsworthy as a midfielder than I would Rowbottom. Has Essendon next week. Worried she'd still be above her price next week. I'm guessing, who is this that has Essendon next week? Let's go and find this. Let's go and find who this is about. So if we just pull this one across and go to fixtures, and who does Essendon play next week? They play North Melbourne, so that is going to be a Ghana, isn't it? So yeah, Ghana's probably gonna, like, realistically speaking, let's pull this up here. Ghana here, 135 break even. So she goes like a 150. She goes up. What's that going to be? Like 40k, 35k. So she'll still be 1.36 million or so. So she'll still be gettable next week if she goes large. But yeah, I just think that for this point of the season, you can get that. It's not necessarily about, oh, she's going to be cheaper or more expensive next week. It's more about solidifying that midfield for me and the process there. So that's why I've gone for a Ghana over fixing up the back line. And I just think there's more points, best case scenario, up for offer. Ghana is the sort of player you need to plan to get this week if you can't. Yeah. I've got 2 questions. Should I trade out Paxman or Georgie Stathis? And do I go Scholes to Strom or Georgie Sparks to Ghana? I'm hot. I wonder, and this is a question for you, Sam, is like, are you in the position where you've already got the midfield sorted out? Because if you've got your M5 sorted, as I believe we've just seen the Lauren Young debut from Port Adelaide. I need to sort of bring this up somewhere. Yeah, it looks like we've got it finally, which, I do think that I'm just reading some expectations about sort of what she'll score. I do think it's a realistic, I'm looking at other stuff here. So let's just bring this up for you guys so that you'll actually be able to see it for a second. Let's go Port Adelaide. Give me Port Adelaide. Here we go. And let's bring this one over here. You will see that, here we go. Lauren Young to debut. That's what we wanted. I don't expect her to score terribly well. I think she does score sort of 50s if we do, or like low 40s, somewhere in that range. And that gets her sort of, she'll probably be, I reckon, she'll score like a 44. That'll get her, about 50k cash gen. So I think she'll be about 350, 355k next week, somewhere in that range. So that'll be another one that we can sort of tick off. I don't know if I necessarily want to get her this week though, because if she fails, because she is a key forward, the cash gen is dead, and you're basically getting, it's almost worse than a red dot is to have a 300k that's not doing anything. That's why I'm really worried about Rigoni, because she's 347k. She could easily fall back to 300k. So I really want to move her on next week if possible, to the point that I may only do one upgrade next week, just so that I don't have to move on some potentially really good cash generators, and I can move her on to a further cash generator. So yeah, I hope that a Lulu Field actually does really well, because that would help me out dramatically. But anyway, I think we're getting close to team sheets coming out, but that was a good one. But yeah, back onto the Sam or Watts question here. Should I trade out Paxman or Georgia Stathis? I just have a question about your Riddell, Noffy, Bowers, George Press, and Hoare in your midfield. So that's a fine midfield. I don't think G Press to. At that point, I'm in the situation you're in, because she's got a really high break even. I would be fixing up your defenders and really fixing them up, rather than going for the midfield upgrade, because she's still going to be 1.35 million next week. So I think you can upgrade a Paxman. I'd probably hold on to Georgia Stathis. I think it's a down game for her. I wouldn't be trading Scholes to Strom, because I think the schedule doesn't really line up there. So I think you can get away with that, to be honest with you. And we are on to teams. So for Collingwood, not much has changed, to be completely honest with you. Barnett's not named in the ruck this week. Did that happen last week? Or did I miss something not named in the ruck this week? Maybe they're just playing some silly buggers with us. But Centra named half forward. So, yeah, I think this is them just chucking some names on a team sheet and seeing how that would go. And then for Hawthorn, you've got pretty much a similar story for them. Not much has changed, except for Gilroy and Vukic coming back in means that Ellie Simons drops out. So not much difference there. Port Adelaide, obviously, with the addition of Lauren Young in, it does help out us for potential cash gen in the future. And no changes for the likes of Geelong. Means that Dunlop goes up against the likes of Shoals. That could be a bloodbath because Dunlop's really slow around the ground and Shoals is probably the quickest ruck across the ground in the game. So I think that she'll do rather well there. And that could be one of the highest scoring rucks of the week. I know she is one of the better scoring rucks in general, but she could match Strom this week. So there's no point, I don't think, upgrading there. And then for the likes of North Melbourne, obviously we do have the likes of Boyd back, which will help those that need it. She's going to score a 65, 70 again, score really well. Could potentially take away some points from Carney, which would make it easier to upgrade there. I don't know how long she'll be necessarily back in for, but that is the only change there. And then for the likes of Carlton, the rucks are just getting managed this week or omitted because we have just seen the likes, two rucks in back-to-back games get omitted. Skepper managed, Torpey omitted, and Good in as well, and Harrington obviously at full forward there. So not much to look in there, and obviously we've got Reedy named on the wing, which is dangerous for cash generation because the wing role is iffy, but yeah. And for those wondering about Boyd, I will just bring up her cash generating stats here. And you can sort of see it. If she goes 75, she gains that 150K to get up to 760K, which is a huge marker. So obviously keep her. I don't know if I'd necessarily be trading into her coming back off of a back injury that's kept her out for a couple of weeks because she might struggle to score heavily, but she still should make a lot of cash. And then for Freo, for Bruges, injured, G, injured, Gladman, Strong, Brown, Booker, Bannister, Murphy back in for Essendon, just looking at that. Freo, we've got Banfield surviving the cut, which is good. And then Poppy Stockwell, as we said earlier, I'd have to look into her stats a little bit, but she's, I don't even know anything about her, to be honest with you. So let's just do a quick little Google search about this. A strong medium forward, a little bit older than most at 20, closing in on 22. And so, yeah, there's that. And played in Waffle last year for South Fremantle, 14 touches, 4 marks, and 2.5 tackles. So, yeah, pretty decent there from her, but not going to be relevant, I don't think, in the long run. But yeah, happy that we did get Banfield, so I'm happy to go with her. And then not much changed in this one. Essendon as well, you'll see obviously 2 good up forward. We'll see if she can get her 7 or so, whatever tackles it was again, and her 4 marks. I think this is a much tougher game. I think that Fremantle are sort of getting better. I know that their ladder position doesn't really show it, but as you can see, they are 2-3 with a 48 percentage. They've been battered in a couple games. But they have had a couple tough games. If they win against Essendon, then there is a slight chance that they jump them, but that would have to be, you would think, about an 80-point win or so for them to jump them. So I don't think that's going to happen, but you could see Fremantle winning that game, or at least I could. And then for Sydney against GWS in the Battle of the Bridge, obviously, this is the extended benches, so it will be tougher to necessarily tell who is coming in, who's not. But we do get Ham, Gardner, and Hamilton named on ball for Sydney. Zippy Fish named in the back line. And so no, obviously Hurley not back yet, which is a little bit of a concern. And we did see that O'Sullivan got injured, which probably pulls the way back for Zippy Fish to go into the back line and them just to use a McAvoy on the wing and pull in another winger like a Sergeant Wilson or so. But yeah, that team I don't think changes too much. And Malloy's still named off the half forwards flank. And I think that Kennedy probably just plays on ball and Hamilton off the half forwards flank. GWS, not much has changed there. At least Goldsworthy is named on ball. That's a start. But we don't know what is it Branketis? Not the GWS coach. We don't know what honestly he's going to do. He could do whatever the heck he wants. And then for Melbourne against the Eagles here, Painter injured, interesting, but no one really has her anymore. Melbourne, it could be that the likes of Rigoni gets dropped because Goldrick and Pisano and Gillard are all back, it looks like. So I wouldn't be surprised if she does get dropped, which would actually help me out because that would enable me to have a loop. So yeah, just got to be careful of that. Heath named on ball, which is a good start there. That's definitely needed for those because she could do really well. Ebert, hopefully for some, I've seen some teams that have her in there. Hopefully she can do well. Chaplin, one that I'll be watching heavily as well. And then nothing else really here with this one. For West Coast, Johnson named is huge. At the moment, where is she actually named? She is named, I was looking at the forwards rather than the backs. Johnson named off halfback. Great. Thomas has been quite bad this year, or for her standards, I should say. And then Rowley named on ball alongside Roberts and Drennan. So we'll see how she scores this week. I'm hoping she doesn't bounce back, but I'm happy in getting Garner. It's not like I'm going from like, say, a Rowley at 650K to like a 2 good or something. That would be a little bit more iffy. And that's why I'm much more happy to go Rowley straight up to the big dog or the big fish in Ghana this week. And then we get to the likes of Western Bulldogs versus Brisbane. Emma McDonald managed, so that key forward's really doing quality, isn't she? She's averaging what for the year exactly? McDonald, I have butchered that there. Let's check. She is averaging all of 29.4. Solid. She's not going to do that well. That's just always something that I come back to when I see the forwards because someone told me that she was going to average really well, that she might tip 50. She might not tip half of that. But anyway, Western Bulldogs, if we're looking at this, Hardingham might not even play. Just looking at it, they may go with someone else. But and it may have been just to get like sort of a in-game rest for Edmonds, but I don't know exactly. If we can actually look at Edmonds here and look at her sort of, there we go. That'll grab her up. We can look at it. Slightly less ruck contests in the game that Hardingham played. So that's actually probably just what's happened, that Hardingham's given her a rest in game almost. And then so I don't expect Hardingham to actually play now looking at this. And then for Brisbane, I don't really think any of these girls have too much. With Greider injured and Hampson injured, there's obviously going to be some that come in. But I don't know if it's going to be too major. Let's just look at it. If they're all on the bench. So Davidson, Baldwick, you got Wright, Spark, Long, Heslop. So some of these girls will play, but I don't think many will. I think Davidson will. Just looking off the top of this, I think she's named, Davidson will. But aside from that, I don't know if many will. And then you've also got Conan named on ball, which could be good. She could score well. So let's hope that holds, but I don't know if that will. And then for St Kilda against Richmond, you see a suspended, McKinnon out with an ACL. So you've got Beatty, Wicksteed, Cox, Barilton, and Egan all named on the extended bench, I'd suspect. Someone's going to have to come in, obviously, but we'll see who that is. It's probably going to be like a Wicksteed that just comes in. And then for St Kilda, I wouldn't be surprised if playing Xenios and Simpson, Friend as well. Let's look at that. If you see the likes of Simpson, Plain, and Xenios are the ones that misses. Then for Gold Coast here, Chelsea Randall injured. That's huge. That could not flip it, but it's going to be big there. Gregory just named Tarlington, Smith, Ewings, Lezusi, Martin and Cronin. Don't think that's going to have much of an influence on this game at all. And I don't think there's too many outlandish ones there on that front there. So if I just want to also look at the what has Butler done? Because Butler was one that I was like umming and ahhing about. She's done average 40. So I wasn't right about Butler, but I was more right about that than the guy was right about Buddy McDonald. But yeah, the likes of Emma King not back again. Emma King's totally, you just see it that Emma King's going to go to someone this year in the off season and play rather well for them because she just cannot get in game. If we look at it here, you can see I wouldn't be shocked if you see Emma King go to someone like a Geelong or something in the off season. And that would be really good because she would be rather cheap from memory. Let's just check this. She has played average of 63 in last year for North Melbourne. So that would be something like she'd be priced at like 40 something or whatever. You'd be getting 63 flat times 0.7, I believe it is. So you'd be getting 44 for her. So you'd have 19 points of value there. So she would be someone that I'd hope would get a trade because she still does all right. And I think that even this as well, you see 38% ruck time. She could get even more ruck time than that and do even better. So yeah, you could see her be one that just jumps up dramatically next year if she gets a move, but we'll see if she moves away from North Melbourne, given that they win everything it looks at the moment. But anyway, I think that is a good time to finish this live stream for AFLW Fantasy. I hope you guys all enjoyed. If you did, remember to like this live stream and to also subscribe and turn the notification bell on so that you know when I upload next. It probably will be a Sunday night or Monday morning upload for my team review of round 6. So yeah, not stick around, but I guess just keep your eyes out for that when that does drop. But anyway, I will see you guys then, I guess.